Hey everybody, welcome back to Front-End Expert. In this video, we'll be discussing the Document Object Model, or the DOM for short. So the question we're trying to answer with the DOM is what actually happens to our HTML. First, the browser receives our HTML, and it receives this as a text file, and then it needs to convert that text file into something more usable. Specifically, it converts it into what we call the DOM tree, or the Document Object Model tree. And this is a tree-like representation of the contents of our HTML file. From here, it's able to take the DOM tree and use it to generate the actual user interface that we are displaying to our users. Now this DOM, or Document Object Model, has a few different purposes. It allows the browser to keep track of what's on the page, but it also provides us with an API that we can interact with via JavaScript or really any other programming language, and we'll see how to do that in the JavaScript crash course. And when we interact with the DOM via this API, we will be interacting with it as a tree because that is how it's storing our HTML file. The way this works is that it stores each of the elements in our HTML file, so each tag, as a node in the tree. Additionally, text will also be stored as a node, as well as there are a few other less common types of nodes, such as comments. And I think the best way to understand this is to just go ahead and look at an example and create a document object model tree from scratch. So let's go ahead and do that now. Here we have an HTML file that looks very similar to the ones we've seen so far in this crash course. So if we look at this file, we have the HTML tags, and inside of the HTML tags is the head and the body, just like always. Inside of the head, we have our title. In this case, the title is my web page. And then inside of the body, we have two more tags. We have an H1, so a top level heading that simply says hello world. And then we have a paragraph that says hello, how are you? But after hello, we have a line break tag with the BR. Now let's go ahead and start drawing the DOM tree. So the DOM always starts with the document. The document is the root of everything in our web page. It is the highest level item in the DOM tree. The document should always have exactly one child, and this will be the HTML tag because the HTML tag is the top level tag of our HTML code that contains all of our other tags. Inside of the HTML tag, as you can see in our code, as well as just how we have always written it, is a head and a body. This means that the HTML tag in our tree will have two children. First, it will have the head tag as its first child. This is because the head tag appears first in the code. And then the second child will be the body tag. This is because the body tag appears second in the code after the head tag, but both of them are direct children of the HTML tag. Now we can go ahead and look at the head, and inside of the head, we only have one tag, and that is the title. So the head will have one child node, and that child node will be the title tag. Now within the title tag, all we have is text. So this will be our first text node, and the node will simply say my web page because that is the text that appears in the HTML code. Now we can go back up and look at the body because we've added everything from the head into the DOM tree. So in the body, we have two tags, and we can start at the first one. We always go from top to bottom. That's the same way that the browser is going to look at our code. And the first tag is going to be an H1. So we can add an H1 as a child to the body. And then this H1 tag only has one child. That one child is a text node. And again, if we look at our code, the text inside of the H1 says hello world. So that will be the text node that we have in the DOM tree. And then next, the body also contains another child, and that is a paragraph tag. So we can add a child node, and that child node will be the paragraph tag. But this paragraph tag has some more complicated children. If we look at it, it has some text, and then it has a line break, and then it has more text. And the way we handle this is we always add children in order of how they appear in the actual HTML file. So first we will have a text node, and this text node will have the contents of hello, and then we will also include the comma as that is part of the text. And then after that, we will have another child. And this child will be the line break tag, because the line break tag came after the hello in the text file in the HTML. Now I will go ahead and move everything over just a little bit so we can have a little bit more space, and we can add the last text node of our last paragraph. And that text node will be the text of how are you, and then the question mark. And once we've added that node to the tree, we've completed all of the content of the HTML file that we were given, and therefore we have completed the DOM tree. And with that, that's going to be the end of this video. I hope you found it helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.